Have you ever questioned or wondered about who God is? What really is God? Where is God? How can I be assured of when I ask of God that God is hearing me? How do I connect with God? How do I really connect with God? Well, that's what we want to talk about today. I've asked that question myself, right? And I started asking that question really as a child, growing up in religion. And somewhere along my process, very, very early in my life, I started having the realization or the questioning of who God really was. I knew what they taught me to believe that God was. I was taught to believe that God was this person, this being, this entity that I was supposed to be so reverentially in a fear of, I was supposed to be afraid of, that God was this person who was the king, the father, the Lord, the being, who was off somewhere else in heaven, right? And then we, humanity, were on this journey to toe the line, if you will. And if we were really pleasing to God at the end of this course, this trip called life, then, or what we call the life experience, the human experience, then we would someday hope to go and be in heaven with God. I also had been processed, if you will, I don't want to say brainwashing, although I think it is in a way, to believe that in order to communicate with God, right, I had to work through these processes. And for me, the older I got in my life, the longer I went on with religious beliefs and societal training also, then I started accepting that or assuming that to be true. It had to be true. It's what everyone around me, it's what everyone in the world, it's what society in general believed, that we had to appease God. So I had to pray for long hours. I had to plead with God. I had to, really labor my case with God in hopes that if I prayed a certain kind of way, I was going to be connecting with God and God would hear me and be favorable to me. So that was just not acceptable to the personality of the chick called Lois. There was just something in me since I was a kid that just has totally always rebelled against religious traditions or societal regulations. There's just a part of me that has always seeked out and questioned. I always wanted to know the truth. I didn't care what the truth was. I just simply needed to know the truth and to know the truth for myself by my own revelation with no intermediate. And so I started petitioning God, questioning God, asking those questions of God. That why should I be afraid of you if you're a father to me? Why should I be in this fear and trembling of you? Why should I be afraid? If I'm afraid, then I can't come to you. I don't want to come to you if I'm afraid of you. I want to run away from you. So I need to understand why I should be afraid of you. I also need to understand, how do I communicate with you? How long is it going to have to take me to pray to get through to you? How do I know that you're really hearing me? And how do I get an assurance that if you're hearing me, you're answering me, right? And who are you really? Who are you? What are you? Who am I? And how do I really connect with you? So these were some of my questions going in as a younger person. I'm going to say maybe back in my teenage years or so. And so I asked these questions for many years. I don't think it necessarily required many years for me to get an answer, but the answer came when I was ready. And it was a process for me, like the peeling off of an onion. I'd had the awareness at that point that there was more to me than just my humanity. I didn't have a full understanding of it, not the way I do now, no, but it was a progressive thing for me. And then somewhere in there, in what we call awakening, now then I started getting the answers to my question. And the answers started coming back to me that God was pure energy, God was spirit. And I actually found it in the Bible where Jesus was talking and he said, God is a spirit, and they that worship, it's recorded there as him, but I prefer to say it, since God is not a man. But in any case, God is a spirit, and they that worship God, or in other words, commune with God, must worship God in spirit and in truth. And I thought, how interesting. Nobody really teaches much about that. But what does it mean to be in God is a spirit? What is a spirit? So in a few years further down the road, I went back and started studying out the word spirit. And then I had the realization that the word spirit is really the word energy. Then I had the revelation that God is a frequency, and so was I. God is a frequency, my friend, and so are you. And that's what today's conversation is going to be about. So, hi, thank you for being here. I am so happy that you're here. My name is Lois, and thank you for coming here. So here at the Within Living YouTube channel, all our conversations are going to be about spirituality, but with a specific focus on consciousness. And when I say consciousness, I'm talking about the consciousness of going back within, harmonizing with, and living in the connection of the consciousness that you are, the realization of your awareness that you are indeed a divine being. It's connecting back to your true identity, that you're more than these bodies. These bodies are precious. And I love the body, yes, and we should take care of the body, but we're not the identity of the body. The bodies are just the vessels, and we are indeed a spirit. We are energetic, divine, eternal beings occupying these bodies at this time, having the human experience through them. So my content is always going to be very thought-provoking to you. My channel is intended to support you on your spiritual journey. So I'm always going to guide you to go back within. Don't take my word or anybody else's word for it as a final word. No one can tell you specifically how to walk out your spiritual journey, right? We're all on this journey, but we're all uniquely different, and we're all at a different place on the journey at different times. So I'm always going to encourage you to go back within, connect back with the consciousness that you are within, and allow it to reveal your truth to you and transform you from within. So thank you so much for that. If you resonate with the content here, we would love to have you join us. So go ahead and subscribe, right? You like this content, share it. Share it and participate with us in the comments box below. All right, and before going further, I just want to stop and give special shout out today to a couple of people in great appreciation to you for you appreciating and supporting my work, whether that is on this YouTube channel or the content I provide on my blog. So special thanks to Marshall C. and to Laranya H. Thank you so kindly for your support of this community. All right, so getting into our conversation today, right? The title of the conversation today is going to be God is a frequency, and so are you. So since we recognize, and if you can recognize and go along with me that God is a frequency, I think most of us here on this channel can acknowledge and accept that God is indeed a spirit. So what is a spirit? You could do your own study and research that, analyze that, and see what you come up with that. But from my work, I am very comfortable that the word spirit is energy. It is fluid energy. God is not a man or a woman or a specific entity. God is infinite, formless substance or vibration or energy. That's who God is. And God then puts itself into everything that exists, taking the form of that thing, including humanity. So if God is an energy, which God is? God is frequency. God is a frequency. It is energy, yes, but energy has varying frequencies. So on the energetic scale, we could have a low frequency, a low vibration, we call that also, or a high frequency, high vibration, right? So if God is a frequency, and God is the fabric of God, if you will, is love. It is the highest frequency. Everything God is love. It's not the love of the heart. No. The love of the heart is the emotional center of humanity. When we love from the heart, that love is conditional. It is emotional, yes. It has feelings, and that's why it is conditional. When we're loving from the heart, if a situation or a person is pleasing to us today, then we're loving wonderfully so. And if they become displeasing to us, then we become critical. And we might even walk away from that love. The love of the source or the spirit, the infinity, the perfection of the frequency of God, it is unchangeable. God, or the frequency God, is the absolute. It is truth. It is irrevocable. It cannot change. So when we're loving from the love of God, the source, we're loving from the unconditional love, where we're loving as God. We're loving because we're choosing to love in spite of and not because of. Before we can give that love, we have to first be able to receive that love. And that love happens on a frequency. So if we are on a frequency where we're believing that we are unworthy or undeserving or unlovable, or we needed to be punished, or whatever our issues are at the low vibrational scale, then we're not on the same frequency where we're able to allow this perfect, infinite, pure, unconditional love of our source, our true nature, to permeate us. We have to receive that love before we can give it. And we connect to it then by coming to the frequency that it is on. It is not coming down to us here. You know, I'm reminded of a scripture that became really important to me in the part of my journey where this whole evolution for me about God being a frequency and not being this king, this man off in heaven someplace, was in the scriptures where Jesus was talking, and he said, God is looking for true worshipers. God is a spirit. I'm sorry. First he said, God is a spirit, energy, frequency. And God is looking for true worshipers. Worshipers are communion, any form of communion that we commune with God when we understand who God is, who we are, and this love, this unconditional love I was referring to previously, is that we are this love, we have this love, we've received this love. Then our communion then is going to be one of worship. It's never one of begging. It's never one of asking, because we already have all things. It's one of love. It's a love affair. It's a love relationship where we're having intimate fellowship and communion with the higher aspect of us, called the source, called God, called the Father, called the universe, whatever anyone wants to call it. So Jesus said, God is looking for true worshipers to worship God, who is the spirit, who is frequency, in spirit and in truth. So if we're going to worship God in spirit and in truth, then we have to come from the place of our frequency. We can't come from the place of our logical, carnal, reasoning mind to worship God from there. We just can't. It doesn't work that way. We can't bring God down to us, in other words. So when we come from the logical, reasoning, carnal mind, we're saying to the infinity, the absolute purity and perfection of all, to God, we can't come up to you. We're going to try to bring you down to here. And that, my friend, I'm here to tell you, that's impossible. All things are possible, but that one will not work. It will not work. It will not work that way. What you'll end up experiencing if you attain to do that is you will end up being further and further and further away from the connection at the higher energetic vibration of this frequency that is God. So how then do we get back to being on the frequency with God? If God is this frequency that we've said that God is, how do we commune with God? Let's talk about that. When we speak words, right? We have thoughts. And we know from many conversations we've had on this channel, and I've done several videos that either speaks directly about it or refers to it, that we create these thoughts. Thoughts are created in the mind. They're an impression. And our thoughts are actually frequency. They are our thoughts of vibration. They're energy. They're frequency. And these frequency impress the brain. And the linguistic pattern in the brain then, with the support of the tongue, formulates the words that gives us the ability to articulate the word through the vocal cord or the larynx, right? We bring forth the word. But when we talk to God, we don't talk to God. God doesn't hear us or respond to us on our, quote, words. No, that's not how we connect to God in communion. We connect to God in communion. I mean, if you want a fast connection with, miraculous results or responses, then you have to connect to God the way that God intends you to connect to God, not the way you're coming from the human perspective. So to do that, we have to connect to God energetically, vibrationally, on frequency. God is a frequency. God just is a frequency. God is energy. And so we then are to use our energy, elevate our energy. Our focus, our priority should be daily to be building up, increasing, elevating our energetic frequency to make this connection, and not just make the connection, but remain on this frequency of connection with the source of all existence. So when we quote unquote pray, we're actually connecting to the source of all things on frequency. If when we pray, we're coming from a low vibration or energetic level, a low frequency, we're coming from a state of lack, limitation, fear, doubts and unbeliefs, unworthiness, then we are going to connect to a low state of frequency. And that low state of frequency is still the essence of the frequency within us, who is the God within us. And God cannot change, right? So God cannot change God's frequency to become your frequency. our frequency if we're on this low vibration. But what God must do is God must then express itself in the form of that low vibration for us and push that out into our reality. What does it mean to push it out into our reality? I had a video going back where we were talking about, and I'm going to link it here in the box, every one is you pushed out. And I was speaking to someone yesterday, and it kind of brought this to mind to talk about this today, because she said to me, yes, but what that is God pushed out, but what exactly is God pushed out? God is the vibration, the energy, the intelligence that is formless. And as we believe at whatever energetic level or frequency we are dominant in, low energy or high energy, whatever we're desirous of experiencing, consciously or subconsciously, then God must take the form, put itself, the formless substance of the intelligence will put itself into the form of that image of whatever it is we desire to experience and present that to us as a physical experience in our human experience. I hope that makes sense. Yeah, I hope that makes sense. Anyway, so going on, because we are these, we are God, and God is us, and we are frequency, and God is frequency, then we can assess then, or assume, form an assumption, that we are infinite, eternal beings. We are divine beings. That's the true nature of you and I. The true nature in you and I is not the persona of the human aspect of us, the human personalities of us. Our true identity is that of being frequency, an infinite, divine being. And we're in these bodies then having these human experiences. The true essence of you, the frequency that you are, it had no beginning. It has no end. Therefore, there's no such thing as death to it. You cannot die. There's no such thing as death to you. Not the true you, not the self of you. The body, the box, the vessel that we're having the experience in, yes, it is a temporal vessel. It will eventually fall off. They call that the death. But the essence of you will rise from it and continue to live eternally. Okay? The word death is just a word that is a part of the human experience for the decaying of the vessel. You, the real you, cannot be decayed. So you will transcend the vessel at that point in time. Just think about this for a moment. We had a video a week or two back where we did a meditation on going within, connecting back with awareness, and asking awareness to show us who we were. And I thank all of you all who gave the comments, the responses back about your experiences. And I want to pick up on what one subscriber said, because it's exactly what my experience was and my understanding and identification of awareness, of living in consciousness. And that is, what she said was, her awareness revealed to her that if she had had no name, no human experiences, no human teaching, the traditions of men by the parents or society, then she would have awakened to the realization that she was pure, formless, infinite consciousness. That's who you are. That's who the frequency is. It is not the person of you. The person of you is the avatar. It's the experience that the formless substance, the consciousness of you is having in the human experience. So in our spiritual awakening, in this experience of spiritual awakening, this journey is to awaken us to realize that we have been sleepwalking, and now that we've been awakened to realize and recognize and know and choose that we really are these infinite beings, we are eternal beings, we are divine beings, we are a frequency, we are energy, we are 99.999% energy. We just are energy, and that energy is a frequency. So for you to get the best, you and I to get the best experiences out of our lives, we are the one and only ones who make the decisions. We are the one and only ones who make the choices. There's no God above you that is making the decision of you, that is deciding if you can have, be, do, or experience something. The only one who's doing that is you. You are giving it to yourself or denying it from yourself. And whether you experience the desires that you are desirous of experiencing, you have the desires because the higher aspect of you already has it. So the thing you are desirous of, to experience it, then you simply have to shift from your current frequency of vibration to harmonize with the frequency of vibration that this thing currently resides in the invisible world. I hope this makes sense for you. In any case, so these are the kind of conversations, right, that I really want to be going into more and more in depth on to help you or to bring more clarity to those on the spiritual awakening journey who are really interested in pursuing the expansion of their consciousness to come into the realization of who you really are, how to connect back with that consciousness, how to shift your energy, which is your frequency, to harmonize with this consciousness. So we're going to be talking a lot more about these things in the community, right? And by the way, about the community, where's my paper? Okay, so here, I want to give you a little bit of update. So I want to give special thanks to Cindy J. You know who you are. Girl, I thank you so much for having come alongside of me and helping me with some of this stuff. It's been a heavy lift for me. Lois is not the techie kind, you know, but hey, it's something the source of me would like to bring forth, and so I'm going with it. And my intention in bringing this community forward anyway is to use it as a vehicle to be able to bring more in-depth group coaching, if you will, to those of you on this journey who are interested in having such a thing and have us participate as a group of people, as a community of people. And so I'm hoping, I'm setting an intention that on December 15th, we'll be able to launch the community for you. It will be available for you to start participating. It is going to be structured on a number of my courses. I have several very intense, in-depth courses that go anywhere from 30 days, some of them all the way through to 120 days. I have not publicly put them out there at this time. But what I'm doing with the community is going back and taking some of the content from some of those courses and breaking them down into mini courses. And then taking those mini courses and taking one chapter, just one chapter per week. And with the one chapter per week of written content, I'll coordinate that with a couple of audio lessons and a couple of videos. And we will go into really discussing the topic of that lesson to help you to really take your time, absorb it, have a group discussion about it, right? Because we can exchange information, have a back and forth group discussion. As a group, you're going to be able to learn from other people's perspectives, and other people are going to be able to learn from yours. We're all a part of the collective. So you have something to contribute here too. Everybody has something to contribute to the growth of not just our community here, but the collective at large. And so I'm really, really excited about this, and I'm looking forward to it. So stay tuned. We're also going to add some live stream. I'm hoping to be able to do at least 1 or 2 live streams per month. And it is a monthly membership, so you could join each month, renew, not renew, do your thing. But this is what we're bringing forth to you, because my true heart's desire in my awakening is the realization of truth that I've had over, I'm going to say 50, 60 years, to the understanding and the knowingness of who I am, that I residing at this point, that indeed I am one with the source of me. I am the God of my universe. And the transformation that that has brought to my life, the freedom that it has given to me, the power that it has released within me, also a sense of humility that goes beyond what I can really explain. I want to bring that forth to each and every one. This is the purpose why I'm here. This is my divine purpose. So I hope you'll join us in the community. Okay, so thank y'all so much for being here. I really sincerely trust this content has been a blessing to you. Go back and listen to it another time. And I'm going to link some other relevant videos in the box for you. So until next week, I'm going to say bye-bye for now. That's it. Peace. Remember, there's one consciousness. We are the one consciousness. That's it. And it is love. It is love. It is unconditional love. And we are that love. We're the source of that love. We're the source of everything. So you absorb that love and then go give it out. And remember, there's one love. Bye-bye for now. Peace.